Hey everybody, welcome to Vibe Coding Live with the Daily AI Show. We are gonna vibe code our website or a website, and Carl's gonna lead us. So Carl, take it away.
Okay, sounds good. I think what we want to do first is show like what you could do now, right? So if you technically just want to vibe code something, you'd go to a Lovable, a Replit, a Bolt. I think there's a couple other ones too that are showing up there and literally build, right? So I think a lot of people think vibe coding is what I'm about to do here, right? So I'm gonna share Lovable. I have an account with Lovable, and I, we can easily like build. I'm gonna use Whisper Flow. Build a website for our company called the Daily AI Show, where people can also see our content that we do on a every day, and I'll also include some other features for you. So something like that, right? We can easily do this, and then it'll code something out. And I didn't give it any UX, UI, or whatever else, right? So for those who are just watching this and kind of what is vibe coding, this is kind of vibe coding where you can just use natural language, and then it'll spin up some sort of website, and then you can connect to Supabase, you can connect to GitHub, and then you can publish and so on, right? One example of this is something that my old business partner just came up with. They had a concept for a business, and in a weekend, Matt built this out, right? Um, looks it looks like it works. Actually paid the upgrade, used all the credits for free, paid up, and then paid up one more time. I think went full max on Lovable, right? So you could, I guess, fumble your way through. Like he took a week, I think 3 days in total to build something like this out, all through natural language, all through something that they planned out about 5-6 years ago. But all I know is the moment I saw the code on this, I was like, oh, there's a lot of errors. I'm not even sure about the security on this. Can it survive a DDoS attack? Where's the API for if we're attaching anything? Like, what are some of these elements here that that was built out? And you don't really have any of that, right? So here, very quickly did this, kind of built this up, and then we can continue using Lovable to create more. What we're planning to do here, though, is not that. In fact, this episode, and Beth, Junmi, and Aaron, feel free to interrupt me at any time. What we're doing is really, when you vibe code, you still have to plan everything, right? We have to plan out what exactly we want this site to have, right? I just put something like this in, and it kind of made stuff up. It's not bad, looks pretty decent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can't click on anything, but like, what exactly do we want on our website? What are features? How do we want it to work? What's the user journey, right? Do we want people to log in? What's the security look like? And I think even more important too is we got to lay it out in a way that when we start coding, whether we use Lovable, Cursor, Windsurf, it's easy to go piece by piece by piece instead of trying to do everything at once. That's what kind of I learned when doing some of these other projects. If you try to do everything at once, there's a high tendency, no matter what the model you're using, it's not going to code it correctly. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to go task by task, by feature by feature by feature.
Okay. So I think it might be helpful for everybody watching now and maybe watching the replay later. Carl, can you break down what our overall plan is? Right?
Yes.
What we plan to do for this series, and then we can dive into what that first step is,
Yes.
and then explain out why we're doing this first step.
So what we're going to be doing is, in general, we're going to plan out our website, right? It's probably the most boring thing we can do, right? There's no AI involved in it. It actually requires our thinking augmented with AI thinking, right? Like we can use AI to help us think through what we want on our website, any features in that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to create a product resource document, a PRD. This gives us, what the product's going to have, our audience, the front end, the back end, like the elements of the site, right? So key features, design preferences. This is what we're building that out. Then what we're going to do, I think, what I want to do is, there's two components here. One is the front end where we're trying to design the UX, the UI. That's one piece. Then there's also the actual back end infrastructure that we have to build out. And then what we also have to think about at the beginning is authentication, which includes if we want some sort of login, what's our infrastructure security look like. And then my thought would be is we create the PRD, we use OpenAI advanced voice mode to talk through what we're actually looking for. Let's just talk through it with the expectation, which we're going to prime the advanced voice mode for ChatGPT. What I was thinking that, hey, we're vibe coding. We want a PRD. We want to use the Moscow method. I can't remember the acronym exactly. And then we want to build out a customer user journey, and we want everything that we just talked about be planned out in a PRD that then I would take and use a tool called Code Guide that really lays that out. And then we take Code Guide and then apply it to like Lovable. One thing though, I do think Lovable, Bolt, and Replit, they're really good at front end, like the UI and UX. So I think we planned that out. But when we actually get into the features, it's not that great. And this is where we may want to go to Cursor or Windsurf to really hone that in. I don't know. What do you all think?
I've been wanting to play with Code Guide, and I have not yet. So I'm really excited about that part.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that lays it out pretty clearly. And chat, you can let us know if there's any point that you have a question on, and we'll see if we can address that. Before we dive deep into it, though, Carl, is there any resources, frameworks,
Yes,
that you're
yes.
that you're drawing upon, and then we can share that with our viewers as well.
I'm going to. I'm going to share now. I follow this this individual. He's done so much work in terms of vibe coding. Most people don't even know who this person is. His name is Prajwal Tomar. Found him on X. Posts a lot about vibe coding. Actually has an agency that was just bought by somebody else on vibe coding. So he spent the last several months doing it. Okay. So I think it's probably easier for our audience and for us to follow kind of a format or a template. I would say template, maybe guidelines on how we do this. And I really like how Prajwal has laid this out. So, and he's very, very big on planning. So it's like why planning is critical for AI coding, right? These are great writing tools, but without context, they hallucinate. Hundreds of bugs, wasted tokens, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So this is where I think we follow. Start with brainstorming. He uses ChatGPT voice to think aloud and all that. Then he builds a knowledge base, which I think this is where we want to build in Code Guide. So all these documents, right? A PRD, a flow. What kind of I don't know what kind of tech stacks we'll need, because I think he's talking about an app, but I think we got to think about that too. What are some guidelines? How we want to lay this out? How we want to lay out our backend infrastructure too, right? Our implementation plan, security guidelines. I think is a very, very good like layout of what kind of documents we'll actually need to create before we even get started, right? And then after he uses the documents manually, and then he uses Code Guide, full project docs, and then loads. He starts everything in Cursor. I don't know what you think. Let's do this in Lovable, because I think like for many people, Cursor or Windsurf, it gets even more technical. So let's have some fun with Cursor and let's kind of build some of this stuff out. I guess like we can then take the code and then move it to Cursor later on. But we can do that with everybody else.
Okay.
And then, yeah, that's kind of like the steps. And I kind of like how he's laid it out here, because I've seen so for example, Deep Learning has a vibe coding 101 with Replit, very, very similar on how they laid it out, and the planning part is very, 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 very smart on what they're doing.
Okay.
So we're getting trolled already. Planning is anti-vibes, according to Gareth, and thank you. But we would like a website that works at the end of the process.
Sorry, Gareth. Producer brain's going to take over. I can't allow no pre-production. We have to have pre-production, Gareth.
Some of us are neurodivergent. We need a plan whether we follow it or not, because it helps us take the first step. Thank you very much.
And I just want to, in terms of what Andy said, yes, you can connect to Supabase, but what we want to do, and this is where when you get into the technical level, yes, you can just go, ask Lovable to do a lot of things, and it's already using, I think, Claude Sonnet 4. But if we really, really, and maybe this is not for this project, but I found if you really want to dig into making sure your features actually work, this is where you do feature by feature into a Cursor, say do ensure that your change has always been pushed to Git, and you can always revert back, because I think if you try to do it all at once, Lovable is looking at all of it. Yes. Rather than when you get into it, you want to go piece. I want to only focus on this. I want to only focus. So, and then you want the feature to be, once you finish the feature, it's done. What's the next feature we want to do? And this is where like software engineers and coders really, how they kind of think, right? It's like piece one at a time, not trying to do everything all at once.
Right. And we've all heard stories or experienced stories of it worked. What did you do? I just added you to, I wanted you to add this one thing and you totally broke the other stuff. Yeah. But now we can't roll back for whatever reason. This gives us our own mile marker so we can go back to it.
So I guess even before we go into advanced voice mode with ChatGPT, I'm not sure how are we just gonna, I guess we can all share a screen. We can have someone's advanced voice mode up. It doesn't matter who. And then we can all just kind of have a conversation with it. But I think before we do that, I think it's important for us to figure out like what exactly on our website do we want? I think that's a key thing. Like, right? Give some sort of context to this.
Right. So what are the features? I mean, yeah. I got 3 features that I definitely want. Number 1, I want the website to be a single source or like a hub where all of our viewers and potential viewers can show up and get access to all the things that we're doing, right? The newsletter, access the community, and specifically being able to see what our current content is and our repository of content, right? And that repository, I want to make sure that it has all the information about the episode. I want to be able to see a highly detailed breakdown of what we talked about in the episode and having a full transcript available for access. You know, if people want to draw their own conclusions, put it into their own notebook LM or something along those lines. But those are my key things. And then, of course, you know, this is not a high priority, but I'd like to take another look at the branding, color palette, lookbook, you know, those kinds of things. And if we can make it the navigation being interesting and dynamic and want people to go to our site as a source of truth, you know, until everyone has their agents and they never go to any websites.
Okay, so I wrote a couple things, but I think before, when we get to ChatGPT, I think, like, you know, maybe Junmi, you can speak on those sections that you want. How about you, Beth?
So I am interested in having some information, having speaker bios. There aren't, we know each other really well, and our LinkedIn profiles say some stuff about us. So I think it's helpful for us to get to, people can get to know us in that context. But other than that, I agree with what Junmi was interested in. And I also think that this is a little like mountain climbing, right? So we're at the bottom. We're going to like talk about our MVP things. These are some of the things that we would like to see. And as soon as it looks successful, like we might actually scale the mountain, we're all going to be like, oh, well, now if it's going to work, I have a bunch of other ideas. So I'm fine doing the MVP and making it serviceable. I do think that we're going to have some lead magnets or some more kind of things that we offer folks, and that might be a part of it, but it might also just be a simple landing page somewhere else. So
okay, anything from you, Aaron?
Yeah, so I suppose for me, I mean, Jimmy and Beth kind of touched on just about everything that's important to me. For me, one of the things I want is, you know, how many episodes are we up to now, guys? 400 or something? I've lost
Almost
track.
500.
today was 475.
Yeah, 500. Sorry.
500 is
I want a page for. I want a page for every single episode with at least a summary of what we discussed, if not a word-for-word transcription, and then maybe a few little marketing things that we can mix into the site where we can sell shit to people. Sorry, that's the technical term, but you know, we.
How about we do this?
We all have skills that we can provide, and I think that's a way to market it.
Okay. Anything else?
That'll do now. As long as it looks cool and operates well, that's fine.
Okay. So we got all the features. Is there anything we want to do in terms of like how the website actually works? Like, do we have any thoughts on that? Do we want to? Is it like a typical website? You have your home page, then you've got navigation. Here's some key features, or do we let the AI kind of figure that one out?
I mean, I think the power of it, if we have properly described what kind of experience we want our customers to have, or our viewers or visitors to have, then the AI should be able to pull those out. Now, if we run into an issue where they can't, then perhaps we do have to line out those kinds of things where we're going line item by line item. But my hope would be that if we described well enough what we want the experience to be, then that's where the AI's power comes in and fills in those gaps.
Okay.
The other thing that I thought of is, given it could end up being a large site with a lot of content, I want it to load really snappy. So, the code at the back end needs to be pretty well optimized. I even go so far as to suggest, and it might not be the best idea, just to be creating plain HTML code rather than something that runs off a database like WordPress, for example.
Could be. Is that something we would? Because there's different things that we could do there from a CDN.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean that's probably, if we're looking at it as a site that's going to be there for us, and as the channel grows and we're going past thousands of people that have subscribed to the channel, and we've to tens or hundreds of thousands or whatever, we need to be cognizant of the load speed of the site. So, whether that's something we need to tell the AI what to do, or whether we need to play in the background, I think it's something we do need to think about and pre-plan for.
Sure, responsiveness and that kind of thing. I think that's I'm not sure if that's an MVP feature, but that is definitely something that we will have to do in pass 2 or pass 3 to refine it.
And this is one of the values of a show like this, because we are, in fact, doing what you will do, right? Oh, let's dream really big. And then, cool, what's the MVP? So we're going to scale back, and we're going to know that we want to go in that direction, but maybe not in this very first. We're not creating a site that will immediately have 475 episode pages right now.
So I think we have enough.
I'd be very curious to see what it comes up with.
You'd be curious to see what we come up with.
No, so if we were to ask, I've only used Lovable once, so I ain't an expert on it. But if we were to say, hey, create a site that is really fast load speed, I'd be interested to see what it popped up with as a solution or a recommendation, without us taking any specific steps. So it'd be purely as a point of curiosity, I'd like to see that.
Okay, so I think we have enough of enough features that we can talk. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to advanced voice mode. Do you think it'd be better to run it as a web app or run it as my desktop app? Probably web app, right?
As a web app, because you won't be able to hear it unless you put your mic next to it in the desktop.
Yeah. So
and run it as a tab.
Yeah. So we got that. So I'm gonna prime it and then say, hey, we've got 4 people here, and we want you to help you build a PRD. And okay, so I haven't done this before with anybody, so let's just do it, and let's see where that goes.
Rock and roll.
Okay. Hey there. I want you to act as my, software engineer advisor, because we're planning to build a website for our company, the Daily AI Show. And what we're looking to do, though, is before we do any of that, we want to develop a PRD, a product resource document. And with this product resource document, we're probably looking at, target audience, our customer journey, our app flow, perhaps tech stack, front end, back end, security, infrastructure, all the things that would go into building this application. Now, I have 4 people here that will be providing input on this. But I guess before we begin, could you research everything you can about vibe coding?
All right, here's the lowdown on vibe coding. It lets you create software by describing what you want in natural language, and the AI turns that into code. This approach can speed up development and lower the barrier to entry for non-coders. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. The code it generates might have hidden bugs or security issues. It can also be tricky to debug or maintain since you didn't write it yourself. And if you rely too heavily on it, your own coding skills might get rusty. Before diving into your PRD, think about how vibe coding might fit into your development workflow. It could help with rapid prototyping or generating boilerplate code, but you'll still need strong engineering oversight to ensure quality and security. Any specific angle or detail you want me to focus on next for your PRD or the project? Also, was there a better way to ask that to get exactly what you needed?
Not really. What we want to do is we want to work with you. You ask questions back about how we would vibe code this entire site, and give us any information or places or perspectives that we didn't really think about.
Got it. Let's break it down step by step and make it interactive. First off, let's get a clear picture of your target audience. Who's going to use the Daily AI Show site? Are they tech enthusiasts, business professionals, or a mix?
Someone want to answer that?
Understanding this will help shape the user experience and features. Next, let's map out the key functionalities and user journeys. What are the core features you want? For example, daily videos, AI news updates, community forums, or something else. This will help define the app flow and what the vibe coding should focus on. Then, let's talk tech stack. Are you leaning toward any particular front-end or back-end frameworks? For instance, if you're familiar with React or Node.js, that could influence the vibe coding instructions and the kind of code it generates. Security and infrastructure are also big topics. What kind of user data are you handling and how will you keep it secure? Are you considering cloud hosting, and if so, which provider? These decisions will shape your PRD and ensure the vibe coding approach aligns with best practices. Finally, think about ongoing maintenance and scalability. How will you handle updates or feature additions as the site grows? Does that sound like a good starting point? If so, let's start with your target audience, then key features, or if there's another aspect you want to jump into, let me know.
Does anybody want to go?
I think you need to be the speaker.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so we'll just give you what input.
Absolutely.
Required.
This approach will let us refine the PRD collaboratively and make sure we're not missing any critical angles. We can dive into each aspect, like audience,
Hold on,
features,
try it,
tech
Jimmy.
stack,
Try to
and security
provide
step by
information.
step,
Let's see what
and I'll
happens.
keep asking questions to flesh out the details. If there's anything specific
Okay,
you want to tackle
one
first,
second.
or if you want to pivot at any point,
I lost
just
the
let me
track
know.
there for a second.
No, because it's not stopping.
Yeah, it's not stopping. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, what would be the first place to start?
A solid starting point is to define your target audience and
Who is
core
our target
features.
audience?
Knowing who you're building for and what they need will shape everything else, from the design to the tech
I
stack.
turned off my mic, so
So, who exactly do you envision using the Daily AI Show website? Are they AI professionals, business leaders,
You can just
curious
talk to me.
newcomers,
I
or a
think we
mix
should
of all
ask
three?
chat.
And
I
what
think
are the
chat
main
should
things
sound
they
off
want from the
on
site?
how
For
they
example,
consider
are they looking for
themselves
daily video
and
content, in-depth
where do
articles,
they,
community discussions,
what
or tool
are they here
recommendations?
for?
Once we
Info?
nail
Are
down
they
who
here
we're
for
serving
whatever
and
they're
what they
here
need,
for?
we can move on to the user journey and the specific functionalities that will meet those needs.
So,
Sound like a plan?
Carl, you turned off your mic, but we can still hear her. So,
Yes.
Jimmy, say what you were saying because I couldn't hear you
Okay.
over the screen share.
Gotcha. I'm just saying we should ask chat why they're here for and where they coming from a what kind of viewer they identify as, whether they're coming in for business, whether they're coming for entertainment, whatever kind of thing. And that way just do a sound off. There's at least a dozen of you watching, so let's hear it. Give them 30 seconds. AI weirdo? Sure.
Jeff
so what
would
I'm
like
Totally down, Jeff. Yeah, AI weirdo. All right, Jeff's answered. Who else we got?
AI curious professionals.
I think the show from the early days was initially just anyone that was interested in AI. I think that's kind of the place where we started from, and it wasn't just business professionals, for example. But I know that was an area we're interested in attracting.
Let's do that. Okay, so the audience that we're looking at is AI curious, AI professionals, AI weirdos, just the type of people who would be watching a show about AI on a daily basis. So here to keep up with AI developments, whether it's business, whether it's just people who are interested, is that enough of an audience to go off of?
I mm,
That's
I'm
a
gonna
great start. You've got a diverse audience. AI curious folks who want to learn the basics,
What
AI
would you
professionals who
like
need
to
deeper
add?
insights and updates, and AI enthusiasts who are just
No,
passionate
no,
about
no.
the
Seriously,
field.
what would you like to add?
This mix gives you a broad yet focused group to cater to. With that in mind, you'll want to offer a variety of content and features. For example, daily video episodes or summaries to keep everyone up to date, more in-depth articles or resources for professionals, and a community forum or comment section for discussions and networking. So the next step is to outline the key features and user journey. What main sections or functionalities do you envision? For instance, a homepage with the latest episodes, a library of past content, a blog or resource section, and a community area. Also, consider how users will navigate and interact with these features. Once we have the feature list, we can move on to the tech stack and how vibe coding can help bring it all together.
I think that's fine, Carl. What I would add just for us is I think we have a wider audience than people who want to who are interested in a daily AI show. I think people are interested in people who do a daily AI show because they don't want to do be involved in AI every day. But I think what we've had is fine. And
I'll
I
add
really I can't hear her and talk to you at the same time. That's
okay.
too much in my head.
One thing I wanted to add in terms of our audience is people who want to watch people talk about AI, because sometimes they're just too busy or they have a lot of things going on and they need a source for, their news and what's going on in AI.
Got it. That's a really important addition. So you're also catering to busy professionals or enthusiasts who want a quick, reliable source of AI updates without having to scour
Yeah,
multiple sources.
I like using the
That means the
UK voice.
site should emphasize
Just so you
convenience and
guys know.
accessibility, maybe offering features like short, digestible video summaries, highlight reels, or even a newsletter recap. This also suggests the need for a clean, intuitive design that lets users quickly find what they need, whether it's the latest video, a trending topic, or a deep dive article. Since time is of the essence for these users, we might also consider features like personalized content recommendations or the ability to save videos for later viewing. All right, now that we've nailed down the audience and their needs, let's outline the core features and user journey. What main sections or functionalities do you want to include to serve these user groups effectively?
Are we good? We're good with the audience? Like, we put that in, the audience is good?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The next piece is the key website features. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say it, and then you tell me if, once ChatGPT kind of goes off and on a tangent, let me know if if it captures what we're talking about. Sound good?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So one of the features a couple of features that we're thinking about would be a single source. We want to be a single source potential hub for viewers to get to access everything that we do. So our show is every day. We publish content on a daily basis, Monday to Friday. We want a repository of content, highly detailed, broken down. That's the first feature we want.
Perfect. So the first
Did I miss
major
anything?
feature is a comprehensive content hub where viewers can easily access and navigate all your daily episodes. This hub should include a well-organized repository of content with detailed breakdowns and easy filtering or search functionality. To make it even more user-friendly, you could categorize content by topics, difficulty levels, or themes like business applications, technical deep dives, or industry news. This way, users can quickly find what's most relevant to them. Next, we can think about how to present these breakdowns, maybe offering both video summaries and text recaps so users can choose their preferred format. From here, we can flesh out additional features that complement this hub. What's the next feature you'd like to include?
No, I want to stay on this feature, and I like what you said about breaking it down. I guess segment the types of content, because we do have different types of content. So can you make sure you keep a note of that as part of the PRD.
Noted. We'll make
No, keep going.
Got it. We'll ensure the PRD highlights the need for categorizing content by topics, difficulty levels, and themes so users can easily find what they're looking for. This will help
Did I
tailor
miss
the
anything?
experience to different audience segments and make the Content Hub a truly effective resource. With that feature locked in, we can move on to the next element or dive deeper into how it should function. Anything specific you want to focus on next for this feature, or should we move on to another key aspect of the site?
We're all good?
Yeah, move on.
General? Okay. So the next thing that we want to talk about is, and maybe this is kind of going back to that feature, is ensure that there is a page that loads all of our episodes with a summary. Now that could be pagination, that could be unlimited scroll, whatever that looks like. But I think there are a way that we want to load a page that has all our content, I guess, in chronological order. So the latest content first, with a short summary, and then filters for segments.
Got it. We'll include a page that lists all episodes with a short summary, sorted by the most recent first. Users will be able to browse through the content using either pagination or infinite scroll. Plus, we'll add filters so they can easily find specific segments or types of content. This setup will give users a smooth, organized way to navigate your entire content library, whether they're catching up on the latest episodes or searching for something specific. Anything else you want to cover for this feature, or should we move on to another aspect of the site?
I think what we also want to include is dynamic loading to assist with load time.
Got it. We'll incorporate dynamic loading to keep load times snappy, ensuring a smooth user experience as they browse through your content. If there's anything else you'd like to refine or add, just let me know. Otherwise, we can move on to the next feature or aspect of the site.
I think we're pretty good. I think what the next feature of the site is, we want to have speaker bios. So have bios for all the people on the show. And I guess about the Daily AI Show section or page too.
Great, we'll add a section for speaker bios, giving viewers a chance to learn more about the folks behind the show. We'll also include an About the Daily AI Show page to share the mission, vision, and what viewers can expect from the show. Anything else you want to add or tweak, or are we good to move forward?
Anything else?
From the about sponsor work with us.
Sponsorship page?
Yep.
Can we also include a page for potential sponsors for the show, or partnerships as well?
Absolutely. We'll include a dedicated page for potential sponsors and partnerships, making it easy for interested parties to learn about collaboration opportunities and get in touch. Is there anything else you'd like to add, or does that cover the main features for now?
Did you have Chat check out our existing website and see if there's any elements that we should keep from the
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
iteration?
So it's the Daily AI Show .org.
.com.
Could you check out the current site? So it's thedailyAIshow.com. Could you review it and see if there's any elements we should keep?
I checked out the current site. It highlights that the Daily AI Show is a live weekday video podcast featuring multiple hosts, and it covers how AI impacts business and life. It also mentions that viewers can watch or listen on platforms like YouTube, LinkedIn, and Spotify. Key elements to consider keeping or enhancing: the multi-host format and the focus on how AI affects business and daily life. The availability of the show on multiple platforms, ensuring viewers can watch or listen wherever they prefer. Is there anything specific from the current site you want to make sure we keep or refine?
What do you think we should keep or refine?
I think it's definitely worth keeping the multi-host format front and center, since it's a unique aspect of your show and adds variety and perspective. Also, emphasizing the availability on multiple platforms is great for accessibility, so keeping that clear and prominent is a plus. In terms of refinement, you might want to integrate the new features we discussed, like the Content Hub and speaker bios, into the existing structure. This could make the site more comprehensive and user-friendly without losing its current strengths. Overall, blending the current site's highlights with the new features should give you a solid, engaging platform. What do you think?
That sounds good. Let's do it.
Awesome. We'll integrate those elements into the new PRD and build on them to enhance the user experience. If anything else comes to mind or you want to dive deeper into any aspect, just let me know.
Sounds good. I think we're done with all the key features. What's the next step?
Great. The next step is to compile all these key features and requirements into a draft PRD. This document will serve as a blueprint for the development team, ensuring everyone's on the same page about what needs to be built. From there, we can flesh out the technical details like the tech stack, infrastructure, and any vibe coding instructions to streamline development. Once the PRD is solidified, you can share it with your team and start planning the development phases. Anything specific you'd like to address in the PRD draft, or any additional thoughts before we move forward?
Anything else? What I'm going to be saying is authentication and security.
Definitely. I'd like to know if it can identify things that should be known or should be added to the PRD that people who are just getting into vibe coding won't think about, don't understand, because they don't have any experience with coding and they don't know what they don't know. That's basically what I'm saying.
Okay.
So if there's a way for chat to draw out all of those elements, that I think would be beneficial to everyone.
Okay. Okay, there's a couple of things that I want to also include. One is authentication, because we will want a capability to log into the site. Two is security. So how can we ensure the site is secure? So, prevent like DDoS attacks. But also, I want you to think about, is there an opportunity, or can you identify anything that maybe a vibe coder or someone who isn't a web developer that we haven't addressed yet?
Got it. We'll include authentication so users can log in, and we'll plan robust security measures to protect the site, including preventing DDoS attacks. For vibe coding or non-developer-friendly implementation, we might consider a few things. 1. CMS integration, using a user-friendly content management system like WordPress or a no-code platform so that non-developers can easily update content. 2. Pre-built templates and components. Leveraging pre-built templates and UI components can help speed up development and ensure consistency without needing deep coding skills. 3. Drag-and-drop builders, incorporating tools like Webflow or other drag-and-drop builders for certain sections of the site, making it easier for non-developers to customize and maintain. 4. Automation and integrations, using tools like Zapier for automating workflows and integrating different services without needing custom code. These approaches can make it easier for the team to manage and update the site, even if they're not developers. Does that align with what you're thinking, or is there anything else you'd like to explore?
We should definitely give it a list of tools that we are using or we plan to have access to help shape the PRD. So that's Lovable, Vercel, cursor, bolt, Supabase, Firebase, all of those vibe coding tools that seem to be very popular, that should be taken into consideration. Because what I noticed with what she was, speaking back to us about was a lot of larger infrastructure type of tools, right? Like the CMS and using Zapier or Maker, stuff like that. So maybe this will help guide what the expectations are.
Okay. A couple of things that we want to include as well would be tools that we're using. So things like Lovable, Vercel, Supabase, GitHub, N8N. Also, I do like your suggestions about a CMS integration. We definitely will want pre-built templates. We should consider drag and drop builders too. Yeah, let's start there.
Perfect. We'll incorporate these tools into the PRD and highlight the integration of a CMS, pre-built templates, and drag-and-drop builders to make the site easy to manage and update. With all these elements, the PRD will be well-rounded and user-friendly, even for non-developers. If there's anything else you'd like to add or clarify, feel free to let me know.
The one thing I think I wanted to add is the ability to leverage voice to have conversations on the site.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Build that in first, or build that in at this point,
Yeah.
and then it may require a little more lift to get there. But I think that's a huge feature that would highlight, well, our main jam, right? We're about AI. We should have AI front and center for visitors.
Okay, and as some of the admin budget kind of stuff, we may not have a budget to pay for real-time interaction on our website, but definitely let's like play with it now. But since other people will be watching this, hey, that thing that I said about sponsoring and partnering with us, yeah, those are related.
So a couple of things that we want to include, because we're an AI show, but we also want to showcase AI, is the ability to have conversations with the site. So whether that's using the WebSocket from OpenAI for a real-time voice, and potentially a retrieval augmented generation capability, whether it's text or voice, to extract or to retrieve information or provide advice as well.
Awesome.
From
Integrating AI-driven conversational
I thought
capabilities
we were
will
getting
definitely showcase your expertise and make the site more interactive. Using OpenAI's WebSocket from real-time voice interaction and adding retrieval augmented generation for both text and voice will allow users to interact with the content in a more dynamic way, retrieving information or getting advice on demand. Is there anything else you'd like to add or refine, or are we set to move forward with drafting the PRD?
One more thing I want to add is, based on any type of research or thoughts, because we're in the AI space, is there any kind of AI components or elements that we should also think about with our site?
Given that you're in the AI space and want to showcase cutting-edge capabilities, here are a few additional AI components to consider. 1. Personalized content recommendations. Using AI to analyze user behavior and preferences, you could offer personalized content suggestions, making it easier for users to discover relevant episodes or resources. 2. Sentiment analysis for feedback. Implementing AI to analyze user comments or feedback can help identify trends and areas for improvement quickly. 3. Automated summaries and transcriptions. Using AI to automatically generate summaries or transcriptions of episodes can enhance accessibility and make it easier for users to consume content in different formats. 4. AI-driven analytics dashboard. Providing an AI-powered analytics dashboard for your team can offer insights into viewer engagement, popular topics, and content performance, helping you tailor future episodes. 5. Interactive AI assistants. Embedding virtual assistants that can guide users through the site, answer common questions, or help them find specific content. These additions can further elevate the user experience and reinforce the innovative nature of your show. Let me know if any of these resonate or if there are other areas you want to explore.
Do you want to include all of them?
Is that in alignment with what we said at the beginning? That we're just
Yeah, I mean,
specific.
the last couple, like the dashboard and all that kind of stuff, that's probably back end. Or, hey, I'm always good for transparency. It'd be great if all of our viewers can know exactly what's going on, but maybe that's a community thing. But I'll stop there. But yeah, I think those are all like past MVP.
Okay. Past, yeah. Okay. Not for now, because we just want to build an MVP for the site, but I also want to make sure that I want to take everything that we talked about today and put it into a tool called Code Guide, which will give us the PRD.
Sounds like a solid plan. We'll take all the features and elements we discussed and compile them into a PRD using Code Guide. That way, you'll have a clear, organized blueprint to kick off the MVP development for the site. If anything else comes up or you need further details as we put it together, just let me know. Otherwise, we're all set to move forward.
Can you give me documentation that I can put into Code Guide so it can create for me a PRD?
Sure thing. Here's a concise outline you can plug into Code Guide to generate your PRD. Project Daily AI Show website PRD.
Listen to this.
First, overview. Purpose: develop a comprehensive website for the Daily AI Show, a live weekday video podcast focusing on AI's impact on business and life. Target audience: AI-curious individuals, AI professionals, enthusiasts, and busy professionals seeking a single source for AI news and insights. Second, key features. Content Hub, centralized repository of all episodes categorized by topics, difficulty levels, and themes. Example: business applications, technical deep dives, industry news. Episode listing page that loads all episodes with summaries, organized in reverse chronological order with pagination or infinite scroll and segment filters. Dynamic loading, implement dynamic loading to improve load times and user experience. Speaker bios and about page, dedicated sections for speaker bios and an About the Daily AI Show page. Sponsors partnerships page for potential sponsors or partners to learn about collaboration opportunities. Authentication and security, user logging capabilities and robust security measures, e.g. protection against DDoS attacks. AI-driven features, real-time voice interaction using OpenAI's WebSocket. Retrieval augmented generation RAG for text or voice can retrieve information or provide advice. Third, tech stack and tools. Front-end, consider using React with a CMS integration for easy content management. Back-end, potentially Node.js with Supabase for database management. Infrastructure, hosting on Vercel, version control with GitHub, and workflow automation with N8N. Management tools, utilize Levity and other relevant tools. Fourth, design and user experience. Implement a user-friendly CMS for easy content updates. Pre-built templates and drag-and-drop builders. Use pre-built templates and drag-and-drop builder for easy customization. Fifth, future enhancements, personalized content recommendations, AI-driven suggestions based on user behavior, automated summaries, transcriptions, AI-generated summaries and transcriptions of episodes, interactive AI assistants, virtual assistants to guide users and answer questions. You can take this outline and input it into Code Guide to generate a comprehensive PRD. If you need any tweaks or additional details, just let me know.
Okay, I think, that took a full hour, which is awesome. We haven't done any type of vibe coding, and I think this is what people have to read.
We have. This is part of the process.
Well, and I've been trying to prime the chat. Like, we have a hard stop at 57, like in 2 minutes. So we might actually leave as a cliffhanger. So I'm kind of glad we're not in the cliffhanger of just watching something happen.
So I did want to take one quick second and bring up what Delma had said earlier. as a copywriting note, put the benefits of reader/listener/viewership up front. What will the audience get from your content, and what will they be able to accomplish? So definitely thank you, Delma. I think that's something that we are definitely going to need towards our further episodes of vibe coding and getting the site up and running. It's a key piece of information, and now it's in the transcript. You're welcome, Beth.
And it may not be. That's the other piece that I wanted, that we talked a little bit about in the chat, is the idea that when you are vibe coding, and what we were talking about was the function of the site and the kinds of things we wanted to include, we are not necessarily looking at totally refining the text content of the site, because once it's built, we can get in and like refine some of those kinds of things as well, just to be clear. Nice. Carl.
So we got everything. I just told it thank you, just to make sure that but so we got the full context. So the next episode, we're gonna take it to Code Guide, build our PRD, and then also work on some UX and UI. So please tune in next week.
Nice. So yes, next week, same channel, same time. All right.
Aloha.
Thanks, everybody. Oh, that's funny.